Hi there. In this video, let's look at how to identify OERs for use in your own courses. Before we start digging in and searching for OERs, let's take a step back for a minute. Why do we choose the textbooks and course materials that we do? Could be for many reasons. Ideally, quality, fit, timeliness, reputation, accuracy, learning level. These are all considerations, but sometimes we use materials because that is what we used when we were students, or a favorite advisor used the material. Sometimes the department chair specifies what can be used in a given course, and all instructors use the same content. Sometimes we might be friends with the textbook author. You get the idea. It's not always the case that course materials are evaluated based on their content exclusively and their merits, and with instructor needs and student needs at the forefront. So let's talk about some myths of OER. OER does not simply mean free. As you learned in Module 1, open content for OERs has to be adaptable, downloadable, modifiable, the 5 R's, right? Reuse, remix, retain, redistribute. So you can't just have something that's free on the web as an OER. And not all OER are digital. Many textbook authors are creating print-on-demand options for their textbooks for very low cost or minimal cost, or cost that's covered under student fees, things like that. There is digital, there's audio, video, 3D models, science, open lab, notebooks, things like that. Not just digital. You get what you pay for. There's that old adage that if it's free, it can't be good. But in this case, OER, particularly now that peer review of textbooks is becoming an increasingly popular attribute of open educational resource textbooks, they are comparable in quality to traditional textbooks published by for-profit publishers. Copyright for OER is not complicated because open licensing, such as Creative Commons, makes it very clear what you can and cannot do freely and legally with the content. And models are evolving to support the sustainability and continuous improvement of OER. We're seeing that in a lot of states now where OER have been incorporated into the research culture and the educational culture of various institutions, and that's just great. So open textbooks, some people feel like there are not enough ancillaries that come with them, but in reality, more and more of those are being developed, more curricular materials, lesson plans, assessments, all kinds of stuff. And when they do not, you can search for more OER to bolster your materials. And thinking that your institution isn't ready for OER, a lot of people say that about our research institutions like us, who are R1s, that the focus is research, not instruction of undergraduates, but any institution can start with small steps, and small steps lead to big changes and impacts for students. So getting started to search for open educational resources, I have a simple framework, really. Step 1, get out your syllabus, look at your course, look at the learning outcomes, look at the course content, look at the approach you take, look at the types of materials you are currently using and what you want to be using. Look at how you're assessing those learning outcomes and students' completion of the material. From there, let's lay the groundwork to searching. Map out some keywords, map out some approaches. Identify some learning objects you would like to use. Remember, we said OER are not just digital textbooks. Could be videos, could be 3D models, quizzes, presentations, assignments, and more. Now that we've done our homework and our background, let's look at some OER search tools by type of tool. The first type of tool we're going to look at is federated search tools. Federated search tools can sometimes be a time saver because they search across multiple repositories and other sources for OERs. Federated searching can yield options from a wide range of platforms, content, but also quality. Some examples of federated OER search tools include Oasis, which is our own SUNY-wide OER search engine. It searches across 79 sources. George Mason OER MetaFinder, or MOM, as we librarians like to call it, links to both public domain content and OERs. The searcher has some flexibility with the interface and can limit MOM to search only OER-specific sites. Merlot is California State University's federated search engine for OER. Content is submitted more so than curated, and there is content from contributors as well as content that links out to other sites. Another way we can find OER is through subject-specific search tools. Some open educational resources are found in subject-specific repositories. They cover many disciplines, and here are just a few to give you a sense of the wide variety of resources out there. So you see we have psychology, chemistry, languages, geography, a bunch of sciences, social work. There's many, many more that I did not include on this slide. Just wanted to give you an understanding of what kinds of collections are out there by subject. Open access research publications can be useful reading material in certain classes. While technically not OER, because they can't be modified or remixed, open access content is a great option for increasing student access to course materials, as open access research is available freely on the web. Here are a few great collections of open access research to get started. And as I've said several times already, we don't have to just necessarily look for reading materials or text-based open educational resources. There are tools that will help you find visual, audio, video, all kinds of content and all kinds of media that is available for your use as an instructor in your class. Some colleges choose to share information about which OER their instructors assign in courses. These lists can give you a good idea of what other instructors in your discipline have adopted, and if they have provided a review, what they think of the adopted resource. So we have one in New York State, Open New York State Faculty Assessments, Cool for Ed, Faculty Showcase in California, and Open Oregon Educational Resources. These are three sources that provide information about the OER that was assigned in their class and how it went. And then I have a little Venn diagram here about the interrelationship between open pedagogy and open educational resources and how they work together to enhance learning outcomes and student engagement. So again, that would be the design process. The open pedagogy would be through ITLAW, and then the technology integration is EdTech, and then finding content is me at the library. And speaking of which, another resource with even more options for searching is our own library guide on OERs. You can see the web address down at the bottom, but we mentioned it a couple other times in this course, so fear not, you will see it again. There's many things on it. There's a whole page to finding OERs. There's copyright. There's what are OERs. There's a toolbox. Lots of good stuff there for you to play around in. There are many more suggested places to find OERs and other open content besides the ones we've shown here. But let's take a look at my colleague Sarah's next Let's take a look at my colleague Sarah Morehouse's at Empire State College's video explaining how to evaluate OERs once you've identified them. Some of her content is Empire State College specific, but there's still a lot of great takeaways from her video lesson. And thanks for watching.